right.
Remember, the 5th of November, the Gunpowder Treason and Plot. I know of no reason why the Gunpowder Treason should ever be forgot.
Well, except for the fact that it was like
1605.
It was trying to blow up some stuff.
Yes! Natalie.
Yeah.
remember. Hi, Mikey!
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Natalie! All right. So,
let's get this.
You guys, Mikey, I remember.
I remember Halloween. You guys remember Halloween? I remember dead cats hanging from poles. You remember dead cats hanging from poles?
All right. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Alicia.
Hey.
How are you? So tonight, because it is the 5th of November, we are talking about the Gunpowder Treason plot. So if you guys don't really know what this is, other than, V for Vendetta.
I only know it from V for Vendetta. I actually didn't know anything about it until I saw that movie. I didn't know about the comic book.
Yes, very appropriate for what's going on tonight.
What's going on tonight?
Voting.
Where? Huh? Oh, there's house stuff. Oh.
So, I forgot what I was saying, guys. So let's try this again. So if you guys don't know what this is past V for Vendetta, we're going to explain it to you. The gist of it? It was a plot to overthrow the king. And we're going to get into that a little bit deeper now.
Oh, can I tell a story real fast?
Yes.
Because you said gist and it reminded me of gist.
I don't think I want this story to happen.
No, then it reminded me of what happened at Deli Delicious, the sandwich shop we got.
And I just ate. I ate it.
Well, the really nice girl there was. I just got beers and I got there and she's like,
they had jizzing on things.
I think so. Well, instead of having sizes, hey Richard, instead of having sizes, they had like prices for the sizes.
Hi Calvin.
And then I was like, okay, can I get this ham sandwich? And I was like, how long is the $7 one? They're like, oh, it's 6 inches. And then when I ordered yours, I was like, oh, how long is a medium? 8 inches if you can take it. I was like, and giggled in front of her. She was all. I was like, I can take it. It was great.
All right. So the gunpowder plot, it's also known as the Gunpowder Treason plot, or the Jesuit treason, was a failed assassination attempt against King James I by a group of provincial English Catholics led by Robert Catesby, who sought to restore the Catholic monarchy from the Church of England after decades of intolerance against the Catholics. The plan was to blow up the House of Lords during a state opening of Parliament on November 5th, 1605.
I am drinking Class 5 Stout, Mikey.
Okay.
Sorry, he said, what am I drinking?
Yeah, we haven't got there yet.
There.
Hey!
Hey!
Class 5 Stout.
Yep.
Hey, Calvin!
Hey, Calvin.
I know Richard's in there, so hi, Richard. So, as a prelude to a popular revolt in the Midlands during which King James' 9-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, was to be installed as the Catholic head of state.
So
that's a big slap in the face.
Is this like the start of Anglicans and stuff like that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anglican, what?
The Anglican church, or something like that, when England got their own church and said, we're going to be not Catholic or something.
No, that was the Church of England already having control.
Oh.
This is the Catholics trying to take control back after being persecuted.
The one thing the English don't do is give control back.
Yes, but this is talking about, you know the King James version of the Bible? This is the man that did that they're going up against.
So he wrote the King James version of the Bible?
No, he took the verses that suited him and placed them into the Bible so that he could reference them. Because at the time...
Versus like an MMA fight?
Okay, let's just stop. I can't do this.
Yes, you can. We got another hour to do this.
Oh, God. Okay.
In this corner, King James. In this corner, Guy Fawkes.
Awesome. What movie?
need to be watching us. Whoa. Whoa, Susan. No, I'm just kidding.
So, Grossman's nearby, plotting with the BOC.
The Bach.
Bunnies of Chaos.
The Bach.
Anyway, okay. So, Catesby may have embarked on the scheme after hopes of securing greater religious tolerance under King James had faded, leaving many English Catholics disappointed. His fellow plotters were John and Christopher Wright, Robert and Thomas Wintour, James Percy, Guy Fawkes, which is the most famous that we know, Robert Keyes, Thomas Bates, John Grant, don't even, Ambrose Rookwood.
Grant?
I wasn't talking about Grant.
What? It's foot penis.
I was talking about Thomas Bates because when he was a kid, he was probably called Master.
It's Hancock. Wasn't it foot penis? Never mind.
Oh, Hellions. Nice.
Oh, nice.
You know it. Mrs. Grossman's nearby. I'm sorry. So, John Grant, Ambrose Rookwood, Sir Everard Digby, and Francis Thresham.
Is there a man-wolf there? Like Guy Fawkes, like man-wolf?
So Fawkes, who had 10 years of military experience fighting in the Spanish Netherlands in the failed suppression of the Dutch revolt, was given charge of the explosives. The plot was revealed to the authorities in an anonymous letter sent to William Parker, 4th Baron Monteagle. I almost said that wrong. Oh, I totally said that wrong. So, in fact, I actually have a picture of said letter. Or at least part of it.
We have a picture?
Yes, we do. Here it is.
Yay.
The Monteagle letter.
Montego?
Monteagle.
Monteagle.
So, this is somebody anonymously sending a letter telling of the plan that's being devised or has been devised.
Would have been a lot cooler if they got lined paper. Just saying.
I don't think they had lined paper yet.
And then they're just writing everything in cursive so no one can actually read it.
Actually, that wasn't cursive.
Whatever.
It was just fancy.
I can't read.
So on... it's barely legible. Well, fuck me running if V for Vendetta wasn't a great movie. Then at the end, when Rolling Stones plays...
Well, fuck me running if V for Vendetta isn't a good movie. Then also you find out he's dyslexic from this letter right here. He didn't know what he was really doing. Hey!
Actually, he's drinking Class 5 Stout from one of our local brewing companies.
Yep, called Kern River Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
They're pretty tasty.
Vodka. He's drinking the vodka.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So, on October 26, 1605, during a search of the House of Lords in the evening on... Oh, excuse me. I just read all that wrong. So, October 26, 1605 was when the letter was sent to William Parker. During a search of the House of Lords in the evening of the 4th of November, Fawkes was discovered guarding 36 barrels of gunpowder, enough to reduce the House of Lords to rubble. And he was arrested. Most of the gunpowder, enough to reduce the House of Lords to rubble, again. And the conspirators fled, most of the gunpowder... I'm dyslexic as hell right now.
You're Guy Fawkes in it right now.
Most of the conspirators fled from London as they learned of the plot's discovery, trying to enlist support along the way. Several made a stand against the pursuing sheriff of Worcester.
Too bad it's not Worcestershire.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not.
Awesome, it was Worcester.
There is a place called that.
Yeah, that's
and
where
his
Worcester
men
sauce is made.
At Holbeck House. In the ensuing battle, Catesby was one of those shot and killed. At their trial on the 27th of January in 1606, 8 of the survivors, including Fawkes, were convicted and sentenced to be hanged and drawn and quartered.
You know, I always thought plans like this were supposed to be drawn up in the back of whorehouses and bars and pubs back in the time.
They totally were.
I don't think so. I don't think this one was. Guy Fawkes is completely dyslexic. He doesn't know what he's doing.
This is how they were tortured.
They were given a bed with no mattress.
No. This is how they were tortured. This is the rack. They basically, we've talked about this in another episode where we
they
talked
basically
about
like
torture.
dislocates, tears, and all this other stuff, and then they take a hammer and break. They take a hammer and break their appendages.
Yeah, but then they hung them.
So, no, it was already that was me. I was already there.
I'm not your guy, buddy.
I'm not your fan, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, pal.
Okay, you're getting dyslexic here.
That's not dyslexic.
I'm saying I'm getting dyslexic here. I don't know.
Okay, so details of the assassination attempt were allegedly known by the principal Jesuit of England, Father Henry Garnet. Although he was convicted of treason and sentenced to death, doubt has been cast on how much he really knew of the plot, as its existence was revealed to him through confession. Garnet was prevented from informing the authorities by the absolute confidentiality of the confessional. Although anti-Catholic legislation was introduced soon after the plot's discovery, many important and loyal Catholics retained high office during King James I's reign.
So he was just trying to do a whole PR campaign. Like, look, I don't hate all Catholics. I just hate the ones that want to blow up Parliament.
Yeah, basically. Well, the thwarting of the gunpowder plot was commemorated for many years afterwards by special sermons and other public events, such as the ringing of church bells, which involved...
Did they get midgets to reenact it?
No.
Please
which
don't.
evolved...
Oh, that would be awesome if they did that. So sorry.
Which evolved into the British variant of Bonfire Night of today. So...
You can't tell me that if they had a Game of Thrones style, they had to have a Game of Thrones style like performance with little people like reenacting this whole thing. I know they did. That's how the British do things. This
is the 36 barrels that they have.
How'd they get them on the ceiling?
They're not on the ceiling. It's the stuff over here.
Oh, what's on the ceiling?
Those are where the posts would be.
So
they were putting them into where the posts are.
Oh. I see what you're getting at here. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Catholics, Pope, poopy potato.
Let's go, Brandon.
Pure Kartoffel. Okay. Anyway, Spanish bull was it effective for torture?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they? I think that was one of those ones where they only used it like once or twice, though, wasn't it? Like the Spanish bull or the Greek bull or whatever they called it. Hey, we can go off on this.
Bronze.
The bronze. There you go.
So between 1533 and we're going to go a little bit of a background, like the religious background that led to this. Hi, how are you?
Natasha Shiny Wingate.
Love it. Wingate.
Wingate.
I love it.
Wing 8 or Wingate?
Whatever, I love it. And I love the mask and the hair. And yes, you are mostly on time. 15 minutes late, but it's okay.
Hey, whatever works here.
So between 1533 and 1540, King Henry VIII took control of the English church from Rome. The start of several decades of religious tension in England. English Catholics struggled in a society dominated by the newly separate and increasingly Protestant Church of England. Henry's daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, responded to the growing religious divide by introducing the Elizabethan religious settlement, which required anyone appointed to a public or church office to swear allegiance to the monarch as head of the church and state. The penalties for refusal were severe. Fines were imposed for recusancy, and repeat offenders risked imprisonment and even execution. Catholicism became marginalized, but despite the threat of torture or execution, priests continued to practice their faith in secret. Succession. Queen Elizabeth, unmarried and childless, steadfastly refused to name an heir. Many Catholics believed that her Catholic cousin, Queen Mary of Scots, or Mary Queen of Scots.
Wasn't that the ship on the Mississippi too? Is she related to a boat?
The Queen Mary is in Long Beach.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Queen of Scots. Elizabethan is an era. Thank you. It's an era. Look it up. The Elizabethan era. But it's take out one of those E's from the double E and add an A instead of...
No, leave them in there.
No. Spell it right. It's a human barbecue pit.
I'm surprised the serial killer is not.
Anyway, so
honestly, has not come with their own bronze bowl or whatnot.
I'm pretty sure they have.
I don't know.
Anyway, so Mary, Queen of Scots, was the legitimate heir to the English throne, but she was executed for treason in 1587. The English Secretary of State, Robert Cecil, negotiated secretly with Mary's son and successor, King James VI of Scotland. In the months before Elizabeth's death, on March 24th, 1603, Cecil prepared the way for James to succeed her. Some exiled Catholics favored Philip II of Spain's daughter Isabella as Elizabeth's successor. More moderate Catholics looked to James's and Elizabeth's cousin, Arbella Stuart, a woman thought to have had Catholic sympathies. As Elizabeth's health deteriorated, the government detained those they considered to be the principal papists, and the Privy Council grew so worried that Arbella Stuart had moved closer to London to prevent her from being kidnapped by the papists. Despite competing claims to the English throne, the transition of power following Elizabeth's death went smoothly. James's succession was announced by proclamation from Cecil on March 24th, which was generally celebrated. Leading the papists rather than causing trouble as anticipated, reacted to the news by offering their enthusiastic support for the new monarch. Jesuit priests, whose presence in England was punishable by death, also demonstrated their support for James, who was widely believed to embody the natural order of things. James ordered a ceasefire in the conflict in Spain, and even though the two countries were still technically at war, King Philip III sent his envoy, Don Juan de Tassis, to congratulate James in his ascension. In the following year, both countries signed the Treaty of London. For decades, the English had lived under a monarch who refused to provide an heir, but James arrived with a family and a clear line of succession. His wife, Anne of Denmark, was the daughter of a king. Their eldest child, the 9-year-old Henry, was considered a handsome and confident boy, and their two younger children, Elizabeth and Charles, sound familiar, were proof that James was able to provide heirs to continue the Protestant monarchy.
And they all died of the plague. Actually, there was only one. I think there was only one king that died of the plague, and it was like the rest of them just like stayed away in their homes and stuff like that. Like that
one saint they skinned alive.
Yeah.
And I need one of them bronzes to cook my fajitas.
Fajitas?
Hey, Nadine!
Hi, Nadine!
How are you?
All right.
So, the early reign of James's attitude towards Catholics was more moderate than that of his predecessor, perhaps even tolerant. He swore that he would not persecute any that will be quiet and give an outward obedience to the law, and believed that exile was a better solution than capital punishment. I would be glad to have both their heads and their bodies separated from this whole island and transported beyond seas, he said. Some Catholics believed that the martyrdom of James's mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, would encourage James to convert to the Catholic faith, and the Catholic houses of Europe may also have shared that hope. James received an envoy from Albert VII, ruler of the remaining Catholic territories in the Netherlands after 30 years of war in the Dutch Revolt, by English-supported Protestant rebels. For the Catholic expatriates engaged in that struggle, the restoration by force of a Catholic monarchy was an intriguing possibility, But following the failed Spanish invasion of England in 1588, the papacy had taken a longer-term view on the return of a Catholic monarch to the English throne. Yeah.
It never happened.
Off with their heads!
Off with their heads!
Look
Hi, Chris.
Everybody's like, what's up?
Hi, Pep. Oh, Pepe's
Yeah.
Pepe.
Pepe! Petite. I love it. I'm sorry. It's an awesome name. So, during the late 16th century, Catholics made several assassination attempts on the Protestant rulers in Europe and in England, including plans to poison Elizabeth I. The Jesuit Juan de Mariana's 1598 on kings and the education of kings explicitly justified the assassination of French King Henry III,
Frosh.
who had been stabbed to death by a Catholic fanatic in 1589. And until the 1620s, some English Catholics believed that regicide was justifiable to remove tyrants from power.
What was regicide again?
Killing a king.
Oh. Yeah.
Hey, Dustin!
Hey, Justin!
How are you going to be? I didn't vote for him. We don't have a king. We are an anarcho-syndicalist commune.
Freaking Monty Python. I think that's Monty Python, right? Yes.
Yeah. How'd you get to be king? I didn't vote for him. Dustin, what's up? What?
Hi. Hi, Stephen P. Kitty Cat.
Hey! All right. So.
On with their heads. Wait, that doesn't work.
Much of the rather nervous James's political writing was concerned with the threat of Catholic assassination and refutation of the Catholic argument that faith did not need to be kept with heretics. Yes, royals loved their poisons and beheadings, it seemed. I've seen a decapitation before. I think I'd opt for the poison. I'm sorry, I don't know what FFEMP.
Well, we're going to find out, I think.
I hope so. Please say it.
Please.
Down with the monarch! Yeah. That's why it's so funny. What?
Let's see what happens here.
Firefighter EMT. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense now.
Yeah.
It wouldn't click in my head.
Wait, you saw someone
Get decapitated when she was a firefighter.
You saw someone get decapitated, or
I love Mikey was like, I got it.
Or it was after the accident or something. I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
Yeah.
So, early plots. Ooh, that's long. In the absence of any signs that James would move to end the persecution of Catholics, as some had hoped for, several members of the clergy, including 2 anti-Jesuit priests, decided to take matters into their own hands in what became known as the Biplot.
Would have been better if it was the bye-bye plot.
Basically how it's spelled.
I know.
The priests, William Watson and William Clark, planned to kidnap James and hold him in the Tower of London until he agreed to be more tolerant towards Catholics. Cecil received news of the plot from several sources, including the archpriest George Blackwell, who instructed his priests to have no part in any such schemes.
We're going to abduct the king and hold him in the tower with all of his guards.
Yeah.
Going to get in there and murder everybody.
So
yeah, that's a great idea, guys.
At about the same time, Lord Cobham, Lord Grey de Wilton, Griffin Markham, and Walter Wright.
Might as well have been Lord Gropeham. That would be awesome.
Oh, it was from an accident.
Oh, okay.
I assume you didn't do the decapitating.
We assumed you didn't do it, but it was. I was just curious if you came upon it or if it just kind of had the accident happened in front of you.
These guys were brutal. Yeah.
Lord Gropeham.
I didn't say Gropeham.
No, his name's Gropeham.
Cobham. So all those people I just listed hatched what became known as the main plot, which involved removing James and his family and supplanting them with Arbella Stewart. Amongst others, they approached Philip III of Spain for funding but were unsuccessful. All those involved in both plots were arrested in July and tried in autumn of 1603. George Brooke was executed, but James, keen not to have too bloody a start of his reign, reprieved Cobham, Grey, and Markham while they were at the scaffold. Raleigh, who had watched while his colleagues sweated, and who was due to be executed a few days later, was also pardoned. Okay. My brain, I can't see it.
Sorry, I just threw you off.
Yeah. Arbella Stewart denied any knowledge of the main plot. The two priests condemned and very bloodily handled were executed. The Catholic community responded to news of these plots with shock. That the byplot had been revealed by Catholics was instrumental in saving them from further persecution. And James was grateful enough to allow pardons for those recusants, thank you, my brain is not working, who sued for them, as well as postponing payment of their fines for a year. Oh, wow. Pepe, I'm not going to bring that up, but wow. Sounds like a great idea for black metal. We're going to go to commercial real fast.
Yeah.
But I need to also save where I was.
Yep.
Which I already lost.
Excuse me.
We will be right back. Where is it?
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Hey!
Hey.
It got hot in here.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you're fine.
Oh, you're totally fine, Pepe.
Yeah.
No worries whatsoever.
So.
So let's get over. Mikey said that he answered the phone accidentally in his radio voice. He said, "This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary."
Hola, yo soy un diablo. I can't. I was about to do that line.
Natasha says, "No sadness here. That was my career for a long time. Part of life. I developed a morbid sense of humor. By the way, you're in the right place for that. To deal with the issues from the job. Beats being sad from everything you see."
Yep.
Oh wow. Oh okay. He didn't know that when he took the picture, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we all do. She's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So on February 19th, 1604, shortly after he discovered that his wife, Queen Anne, had been sent a rosary from the Pope.
And what was she doing?
What the hell?
What? It's funny.
No, it's not. Oh, start all over again. Thanks.
You're at Queen Anne. She was doing something. I'm not stoned yet. Okay.
Okay, on February 19th, 1604, shortly after he discovered that his wife, Queen Anne, had been sent a rosary from the Pope via one of James's spies, Sir Anthony Standen, James denounced the Catholic Church. 3 days later, he ordered all Jesuits and all other Catholic priests to leave the country. And reimposed the collection of fines for recusancy.
And the boy touching stopped too.
James changed his focus from the anxieties of English Catholics to the establishment of an Anglo-Scottish union. He also appointed Scottish nobles such as George Home to his court, which proved unpopular with the Parliament of England. Some members of Parliament made it clear that in their view, the effluxion of people from the north parts was unwelcome and compared them to plants which are transported from barren ground into more fertile ones. Even more discontent resulted when the king allowed his Scottish nobles to collect the recusancy fines. Recusancy. I don't know why I'm stuck on that word. There were 5,560 convicted of recusancy in 1605, of whom 112 were landowners. The very few Catholics of great wealth who refused to attend services at their parish church were fined £20 per month. Those of more moderate means had to pay 2/3 of their annual rental income.
So,
middle-class recusants were fined 1 shilling a week, although the collection of all these fines was haphazard and negligent. When James came to power, almost £15,000 a year, the equivalent of about £12 million in 2020, was being raised by these fines.
yeah. How many pounds is that?
Hey, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Right? Super crazy. Right? What were you going to ask?
I forgot.
So on March 19th, the king gave his opening speech to his first English parliament, in which he spoke of his desire to secure peace, but only by profession of the true religion. He also spoke of a Christian union and reiterated his desire to avoid religious persecution. For the Catholics, the king's speech made it clear that they were not to increase their number and strength in this kingdom, and that they might be in hope to erect their religion again. To Father John Gerard, these words were almost certainly responsible for the heightened levels of persecution the members of his faith now suffered. And for the priest Oswald Tessimond, they were a rebuttal of the early claims that the king had made upon which the Papists had built their hopes. A week after James's speech, Lord Sheffield informed the king of over 900 recusants brought before the Assizes in Normandy.
It says S.
And on the 24th of April, a bill was introduced in Parliament which threatened to outlaw all English followers of the Catholic Church. Yeah, paying corruption. Absolutely.
Well, it was just their way of, the long hair guy is distracting everyone. Yes, that's what I do. It was just, I can't think what I was going to say. I forgot.
Okay. So, the conspirators' principal aim was to kill King James. This is the plot, by the way. But many other important targets would also be present at the state opening, including the monarch's nearest relatives and members of the Privy Council. Is that the Shitter Council?
The what? Say it again?
The Privy Council.
The Privy Council?
The Shitter Council.
The Shitter Council.
What
is a Privy?
A toilet.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's not what it means here. But
Yeah,
privy is
you
knowledge.
never know how, that's just how weird the English are.
Like, being privy to something is in the know.
I get that. You're in the know to the pooping.
No.
That's,
Okay.
they're close to Germany, and Germany, the Germans are absolutely fucking weird. Okay? That's true. So they might as well, it's not,
You're loud.
I'm just saying.
You're
Well,
yelling in my ear.
English people are weird, man.
Why does that mean you have to yell in my ear?
The law of the land?
No. So, the senior judges of the English legal system, most of the Protestant aristocracy, and the bishops of the Church of England would all have attended in their capacity as members of the House of Lords. Along with the members of the House of Commons, another important objective was the kidnapping of the king's daughter, Elizabeth, housed at Combe Abbey near Coventry. She lived only 10 miles north of Warwick. Convenient for the plotters, most of whom lived in the Midlands. Once the king and his parliament were dead, the plotters intended to install Elizabeth on the English throne as the titular queen. The fate of her brothers, Henry and Charles, would be improvised. Their role in state ceremonies was yet uncertain, and the plotters planned to use Henry Percy, 9th Earl of Northumberland, as Elizabeth's regent, but most likely never informed him of this.
Okay, I like their magical thinking here of how this.
For the record, this is. Oh, go ahead, keep going.
Of how this is supposed to work. They're like, we're going to do this. We're going to put this guy over here, right? Then we're going to install this woman here, and she's going to be the queen. But then we're going to take parts of the new royal family.
This is who they were going to install as the queen. This is Elizabeth.
We're going to take the new royal family and make it so her family has not that much power. When the reality of it is say this plan did work, and they put her in there.
She'd be pissed that you killed her dad.
She'd be pissed that this happened, and screw you guys all over real bad. Because, it's 1605, and the English love to torture.
But this is Elizabeth, King James's daughter, by the way.
Jesus Christ, she is like just all freaking toilet paper roll. Look at that. That's just
what?
That's where
toilet paper roll?
English inbreeding gets you right there.
What the hell are we discussing tonight?
Oh, hey,
the 5th of November.
We are not discussing Rasputin. I'll tell you that right now, Mark.
Rasputin. Yes, titular.
I gotta show you the picture I sent Mark one of these days.
Well, I've seen it.
I know you.
But yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Like, they really planned this shit out. They really, really planned this shit out.
Well, it's.
bunnies of chaos are coming for you. The bunnies of chaos are coming for you.
Good morning!
So
their plan actually, obviously, it involves a lot of murder and a lot of destruction and stuff like that. And the reality of it is none of their stuff would have came to fruition regardless, because they would just blown up Parliament, and then the new monarchy would have taken over, and then practically did a lot of the same shit they were doing before. I mean, minus probably going after Catholics, but they would have been just as corrupt, just as much as a huge dictatorship and everything.
So I'm going to skip recruiting. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
The first meeting between the 5 conspirators took place on May 20th, 1604, probably at the Duck and Drake Inn, just off of the Strand.
I want to go to the Duck and Drake Inn.
As long as it's not two goats and a goose or whatever.
Two ducks and two dokes and a drake.
I don't know.
Can you imagine that? You go there
Okay.
and you see freaking dragons and ducks fighting each other. Ducks spitting venom everywhere, and dragons doing fire and stuff. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying here. So Thomas Winter's usual residence when staying in London was actually the Duck and Drake Inn. Catesby, Thomas Winter, and John Wright.
Two
Actually,
ducks,
no.
one cup. It's all quack, quack, quack. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, quack. And then they just quack, 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 quack.
Yeah, it might be. No. Oh, gosh.
We're out of edibles.
No, we're not.
Oh, where are they?
They were right there.
Oh. See it?
Anyway,
It's
guys,
legal in California.
It's legal here. So, I have to say the whole sentence over again. So, Catesby, John Winter, and John Wright were in attendance, joined by Guy Fawkes and Thomas Percy. Alone in a private room, the 5 plotters swore an oath of secrecy on a prayer book. By coincidence, and ignorant of the plot, Father John Gerard, a friend of Catesby, was celebrating Mass in another room, and the 5 men subsequently received the, I don't know what this, Eucharist?
The Eucharist, yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. It's like some sort of like religious, like
I'm sure it's religious something.
It's a religious like piece of vine that they beat each other with or something.
Okay, let's do
I
this.
swear to God.
It's a Christian rite that is considered a sacrament in most churches and as ordinance in others.
Yeah, see, they beat each other with a rod.
No, God, it's communion.
What are you communing with?
Anyway.
You know, actually, to bring up Natasha's thing again, where she says 2 ducks, 1 cup. Would that be like a new definition of stepping on a duck when you,
Okay.
when you poo?
It's usually farting, but okay. I don't know anybody who just sits there and shits themselves.
Well, 2 ducks in 1 cup does.
Well, fewer kartoffel.
Oh. Okay.
Kartoffel apparently shit himself recently. Further recruitment following their oath, the plotters left London.
Apparently shits all over the White House.
And returned to their homes. The adjournment of Parliament gave them, they thought, until February of 1605 to finalize their plans. On June 9th, Percy's patron, the Earl of Northumberland, appointed him to the Honourable Corps of Gentlemen at Arms, a mounted troop of 50 bodyguards to the king. This role gave Percy reason to seek base in London and a small property near the prince's chamber owned by Henry Ferrers.
Who was the Princess Bride, though?
A tenant of John Wynyard was chosen. Percy arranged for the use of the house through Northumberland's agents, Dudley Carleton and John Hippisley. Fawkes, using the pseudonym John Johnson, original, maybe it was original that time, took charge of the building, posing as Percy's servant. The building was occupied by Scottish commissioners appointed by the king to consider his plans for the unification of England and Scotland. So the plotters hired Catesby's lodgings in Lambeth. On the opposite bank of the Thames, or Thames actually, from where their stored gunpowder and other supplies could be conveniently rowed across each night. Meanwhile, King James continued in his policies against the Catholics, and Parliament pushed through the anti-Catholic legislation until its adjournment in July, or on July 7th. Excuse me.
Did you say Carlton?
I did say Carlton. I did. Mental
Natasha.
image of.
Natasha, for the record, I do not apologize for what I stated.
You do not need
2
to.
ducks in 1 cup.
You do not need to. Absolutely, Pepe.
What do you say?
Right here. It's crazy how many people have actually been murdered in the name of any religion, to be honest. This
Yeah,
is why we don't really discuss religion, because we're not saying anything negative about it, but also...
I mean, like, look, I am poking fun at, like, Catholics and all, but this is what this is about. So.
We are not saying anything negative about any religions, to be honest. We're just reading history. But that being said, every religion, for some reason, seems to have had some kind of crazy war. Specifically the main ones, but, you know.
Well.
I already got that one. Back then, it was conform or die.
Yeah.
Which is barely any different from now.
It is. Well,
that's why we like being weird. Sorry. So, let me get back over here. Oh, so I'm going to show you the House of the Lords, which is going to be highlighted in red here. Do I have it up already?
I don't think you saved it.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did. You did save it.
I saved all of them.
Did you know that you can upload multiple things now?
So here we go. This is the House of the Lords.
That's
right there where the...
Look at that. There's like no one there.
Oh my god.
Where's Lord Grobenstein? What happened to that dude?
Enter the weird.
I love that man. Lord. Oh God. Lord
Grobenstein?
Lord Grobenstein.
So,
okay, sorry.
I'm trying to find something here.
That's porn.
That is not porn.
You can't upload that one.
There's no porn.
That's a wiener.
Oh my God! Stop. Never mind. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
It's the map of Zelda.
So the conspirators returned to London in October of 1604 when Robert Keyes, a desperate man ruined and in debt, was admitted into the group. His responsibility was to take charge of Catesby's house in Lambeth, where the gunpowder and other supplies were to be stored. Keyes' family had notable connections. His wife's employer was the Catholic Lord Mordaunt. Tall, with a red beard, he was seen as trustworthy and, like Fox, capable of looking after himself. In December, Catesby recruited his servant, Thomas Bates, into the plot, after the latter accidentally became aware of it. So, I'm going to kind of skip forward. Pepe broke you, apparently. No, it's not. No, it's really not. So, let me scoot a little bit forward here. This is a lot, and we only have like 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot here. When you told me about it earlier today, I was like, there's not much to this. And you're like, there's a lot.
Do we get to the part of the story with all the boobies, or did I tune in the wrong night again?
Well,
I don't think there's boobies in this one.
We can get to Natalie Portman getting her head shaved. That's as much as boobies we're going to have in this.
Okay, so the discovery. The letter was shown to the letter that we showed earlier. Let's get back up to that. Boom.
Dyslexia.
By an anonymous man that was sent to Monteagle, the Duke. Okay, so
sorry.
What?
This is what you said. That person. You know what I'm talking about.
The letter was shown to the king on Friday, November 1st, following his arrival back in London. Upon reading it, James immediately seized upon the word blow and felt that it hinted at something stratagem of fire and powder. Perhaps an explosion exceeding in violence that the one that killed his father, Lord Darnley, at Kirkhofield in 1567. Keen not to seem too intrigued and wanting to allow the king to take the credit for unveiling the conspiracy, Salisbury feigned ignorance. Yes, Salisbury.
Salisbury steak.
The following day, members of the Privy Council visited the king at the Palace of Whitehall and informed him that based on the information that Salisbury had given them a week earlier, on Monday, the Lord Chamberlain Thomas Howard, 1st Earl of Suffolk, would undertake a search of the Houses of Parliament, both above and below. On Sunday, the 3rd of November, Percy, Catesby, and Winter had a final meeting where Percy told his colleagues that they should abide the utmost trial.
Is there a chance that Saint Germain came here and warned them?
We have 8 minutes. And reminding them that their ship waiting at anchor on the Thames, or of their ship that was waiting at anchor on the Thames. By the 4th of November, Digby was with a hunting party at Dunchurch, ready to abduct Elizabeth. The same day, Percy visited the Earl of Northumberland, who was uninvolved in the conspiracy, to see if he could discern what rumors surrounded the letter of Monteagle. Percy returned to London and assured Winter and Wright and Keyes that they had nothing to be concerned about, and returned to his lodgings in Gray's Inn Road. The same evening, Catesby, likely accompanied by Wright and Bates, set off for Midlands. Fox visited Keyes and was given a pocket watch left by Percy to time the fuse. And an hour later, Rookwood received several engraved swords from a local cutler. I'll show you.
It's insane to think that the time, how fast information doesn't flow. Mm-hmm. They're only a day away, and that they could actually do all this stuff. I mean, could you imagine this is going on right now? And if like the agents, like government agencies found out what was going on, they'd have these guys in a minute.
So this, by the way, is the lantern that Guy Fawkes used.
That's actually pretty cool. Where is it at exactly?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't have a note on where it is located. Okay. Mark might. Boobies.
Yeah, space bigger boobies.
So, although 2 accounts of the number of searches at their timing exist, according to the King's version, the first search of the building in and around Parliament was made on Monday, the 4th of November, as the plotters were busy making their final preparations. By Suffolk, Monteagle, and Wynyard, they found a large pile of firewood in the undercroft beneath the House of Lords, accompanied by what they presumed to be a servicing man, who was Guy Fawkes.
What kind of servicing man was he?
Who told them that the firewood belonged to his master, Thomas Percy. They left a report to report their findings, at which time Fawkes also left the building. The mention of Percy's name aroused further suspicion that he was already known to the authorities as a Catholic agitator. The king insisted
that's an understatement.
That a more thorough search be undertaken. Late that night, the search party headed by Thomas Niet returned to the Undercroft. They again found Fawkes dressed in a cloak and hat and wearing boots and spurs. He was arrested, whereupon he gave his name as John Johnson. He carried a lantern, now held, in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. And a search of his person revealed a pocket watch, several slow matches, and torchwood. 36 barrels of gunpowder were discovered hidden under piles.
Okay, let's see you skirt around this word. Come on, let's do it.
Under piles of wood and coal.
Under a bundle of sticks, is what. Yes. However they say that in England.
Yeah. It's the proper term.
Proper term.
Of sticks, or maybe a cigarette in England. November 5th.
So you can say it was a catastrophe. Ha! Yeah. Quick!
So, as we mentioned before, they were all sentenced to be hung and drawn and quartered.
But didn't we say that they actually didn't kill Guy Fawkes? They exiled him or something?
So, as news of John Johnson's arrest spread among the plotters in England, in London, most fled northwest along Walting Street. Christopher Wright and Thomas Percy left together. Rockwood left soon after and managed to cover 30 miles in 2 hours on one horse. He overtook Keyes, who had set off earlier. Then Wright and Percy at Little Brick Hill, before catching Catesby, John Wright, and Bates on the same road, reunited. The group continued northwest to Dunchurch, using horses provided by Digby. Keyes went to Mordaunt's house at Drayton. Meanwhile, Winter stayed in London and even went to Westminster to see what was happening. When he realized the plot had been uncovered, he took his horse and made for his sister's house in Norbrook before continuing to Huntington Court.
You think about this. 30 miles, obviously, they were able to catch him and find out what was going on in England, because it's just everybody knows where everything is there. If this was 1605 in the United States or the colonies and stuff like that, if you're 30 miles away, you're done. You're not catching anybody. You're in the woods. You're gone. It's insane to think about that. If this was mainland Europe, like, they would not be catching these guys. They would just be gone.
On the 5th of November, we began our parliament, to which the king should have come in person, but refrained through a practice, but that morning discovered the plot was to have blown up the king at such time as he should have been set on his royal throne, accompanied with all his children, nobility, commoners, and assisted with all bishops, judges, and doctors. At one instant and blast, to have ruined the whole state and kingdom of England. And for the effecting of this, there was placed under the Parliament House, where the king should sit, some 30 barrels of powder, with good store of wood. Not going to say the word.
He brought it up. A mighty bundle of
stick pieces and bars of iron. This is an extract from a letter from Sir Edward Hobby to Sir Thomas Edwards, ambassador at Brussels.
All right, one more paragraph.
So, if you guys want to learn a bit more, honestly, go check it out. I'm going to say one more thing here. This is going to be rough because it's a little bit hard.
What are you saying?
So I'm going to say the entire poem, by the way. So, remember the 5th of November, the Gunpowder Treason and Plot. I know of no reason why the Gunpowder Treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes and his companions did the scheme contrive to blow the king and parliament all up alive. 70 barrels laid below to prove old England's overthrow. But by God's providence, him they catch with a dark lantern lighting a match, a stick and a stake for King James's sake. If you won't give me one, I'll take two. The better for me and the worse for you. A rope to hang the Pope, the pen'orth of cheese to choke him, a pint of beer to wash it down, and a jolly good fire to burn him. Holler boys, make the bells ring. Holler boys, God save the king. Hip, hip, hooray.
Wouldn't it be hola, hola?
It's holler.
Okay.
All right. Again, remember the 5th of November.
Yep.
And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful night.
See you guys later.
Bye.